This is the easiest way to document your life in a meaningful and creative way. And all it requires from you is sitting down with your journal once a month. Not daily, not weekly, just once a month, 12 times a year. And you too can have a journal that looks like this. Hello and welcome to my Abiding Journal. My name is Kelsey Lee and I consider myself a relatively busy person who also really values and loves to document her life. Over the last several years, I've really narrowed in on a form of memory keeping that finally feels right and feels like something I could just keep doing literally for the rest of my life. If you value the idea of documenting your life and are looking for a way that you can actually make it happen, then I want to encourage you to keep watching because this is going to be my complete guide to documenting your life the easy way. And that is through monthly journaling. So to start, we'll talk about what is monthly journaling and why you should do it. We'll then talk about how to get started, and trust me, it is so easy. Like I said at the beginning, once a month is all you need. All right, so monthly journaling, as I define it, is a creative form of documenting your life 1 month at a time. And typically, the idea is that you are documenting 1 month in one entry. And what you are documenting for that month can mean a lot of different things. It can be memories and experiences. It can be favorites from that month. It can be things you see in the news. It can be achievements and milestones. It can be setbacks and things that you didn't expect to happen. These are all examples of things that you may want to document in your monthly entry. It's also important to note that there is no one right way to monthly journal. I hate that word, monthly. I hate saying the word monthly, and here I am doing a video about monthly journaling. Every time I say it, it just sounds wrong. Monthly. Gets stuck on my tongue. Okay, so monthly journaling doesn't have to look one way. Personally, this is my 3rd year of using this particular notebook for my monthly journal entries, and the one I use is a Dingbats B5, but many people like to do their monthly journaling in an existing planner that they use, or a bullet journal, or other form of journaling that they're doing already. There is no right way, whatever is going to work best for you. So now that we have covered what monthly journaling is, I want to talk about why you should do it. The biggest one is time. The fact that you only have to commit 1 to 2 hours once a month is huge. And just by doing that simple thing, showing up for yourself month after month, you'll be surprised by how much you'll be able to document of your life. The second biggest reason for me is that it is a creative outlet. I believe we are created to create. We do so much consumption in this world that there is something so beautiful about letting something come from you and actually creating. And this is one of the perfect hobbies to give you that creative outlet. And the third reason that relates more to the process of journaling is just the sense of peace that you get when you sit down to create and to reflect on your life. I think this form of journaling really gives you that outlet to slow down, hit the pause button on life, and just have that moment of reflection. Maybe light a candle, make a cup of tea, which mine is definitely getting cold at this point, and have some time to just be with yourself. The ability to look back on this journal and to see my life in this way, that is actually one of the biggest reasons for committing to monthly journaling. And I would break it down into kind of four key words. The first word would be clarity. When you monthly journal, you have so much more clarity about your life and where your time is going. So often, I think people get to the end of a year and just wonder, where did the time go? What did I do? What did I accomplish? And the beautiful thing about monthly journaling is that I know exactly where my time has gone because I can physically see it. I have created on the page a visual map of where my time is going. It really does give me clarity about how I'm living my life and what is actually most important to me. And because of that, it also gives you clarity about how you want to live your life in the next month and the next year. You can see where your time is going and reprioritize where you want it to go next. The second word is self-respect, and it kind of relates to the first idea about clarity, which is more clarity about what you're doing right. I think sometimes we can look back on our month or our year and feel like we made no progress towards anything, we didn't meet our goals. But if you actually break things down a little bit and take the time to document what you're doing every single month, you can identify small wins and progress towards all of the different areas of your life and really track your growth over time. The next word is gratitude, and monthly journaling, I think, is one of the best ways to develop a deeper sense of gratitude. When I monthly journal, I am essentially gratitude journaling. I am expressing to God all that I have to be thankful for in my life. I'm focusing on all of the big and small things that I have to be grateful for. That can be a travel experience or a fun night out with friends, but it also is those little mundane joys of the everyday. It's that encouraging text from a friend. It's that coffee that I discovered that I can't get enough of. It's the experience of the changing season. It is every little thing I have to be grateful for. The best thing about this is once you get into the habit of monthly journaling, it actually starts to retrain your mind to look for these things, to have a more grateful way of looking at life, to appreciate every day a little bit more because you're looking all around you for those moments that you are going to want to capture on the page. And then the final reason I have for you, and maybe one of the most important, especially in today's world, is that when you choose to look at your life in this way, it gives you a sense of hope. That is in part driven by documenting all the things you have to be grateful for, but it's actually also because you can also use this as a place to document the challenges and the setbacks and the disappointments that you experience in life too. At least for me, one of the ways that this form of journaling helps me to experience a greater sense of hope when I look at the grand scheme of life is that it helps me to acknowledge a difficult experience and give it space in my journal, actually put it into words in a way so that I can grapple with it and process it a little bit more. And then it also shows me how over time that experience either helped me to grow as a person, or it showed me how I was ultimately able to get through it and still find joy in the midst of it. I find that when those setbacks and challenges and disappointments and grief are on the page and acknowledged, but at the same time surrounded by all that I have to be grateful for, even as those things are also true, it helps me to reframe my understanding of those more difficult experiences and put them into perspective, it really does help to shift my mindset towards hope. There are so many valuable reasons for taking on this practice, and I hope that I've convinced you through some of my explanation thus far. But now I want to dive into how you can actually get started. And we're going to break this down into those first steps you need to take, what you can do throughout the month to be preparing to create your monthly entry, what you should do right before you journal, and then how to actually go about documenting your month. First, let's talk about those first steps you need to take. And really, it's as simple as get yourself a notebook or journal. Like I said, I use a Dingbat B5. If you're just starting out, maybe you want to use a little bit smaller of a notebook. I have a whole video about choosing a notebook if you need some help with that decision, so I'll encourage you to watch that. But once you have your notebook, then the next thing is to think about any other supplies you may want to use for this form of journaling. The idea is to have your basic kit ready to go, so that way when it comes time to documenting, you have everything you need already at your fingertips. Now let's talk about what you can be doing throughout the month to help yourself prepare for a successful documenting session. My first tip is really just to try to be a little bit more observant and take notice of the moments that stand out to you. So whether that is going to be a special event, a birthday, a seasonal celebration, or even, like I said, those small joys of life. Now, it can be a little bit difficult to sit down at the end of a month and actually recall all of that. So what I like to do is actually take notes in the Notes app on my iPhone, and I just add a new month and I keep a bulleted list of anything that comes to mind. And then the other thing I am doing throughout the month is making sure that I'm trying to capture some of those highlights through photos. You can always delete them later, but it's nice to have that resource of photos. And it also is a great way to jog your memory when maybe you forgot to put a moment in your notes. In addition to taking photos, I do also keep track of any little ephemera. So if I have a ticket stub from a movie or a map from somewhere we traveled, whatever that looks like, it's just holding on to those little mementos that kind of fall into our life and keeping track of them. I like to just have a little bin on my desk that I put them all in, so that way they are ready to go for documenting at the end of the month. Now let's talk about what I do right before I'm ready to journal. This is usually in like the 2 to 3 days before I'm going to actively sit down for my journaling session. So the first thing is that I'm going to look back through my list in my Notes app and see if there is anything missing, anything that I forgot to record. And the way that I jog my memory to know if I missed anything is by going through the photos that I've taken on my phone. The other thing I do is go through my calendar and my planner, so that way I can see if there are items that I had scheduled and that we did and enjoyed, but maybe I forgot to put into my list. And then of course it just comes down to memory and what stands out that you may have forgotten. And the way that I jog my memory is actually by using a series of monthly journaling prompts that I created for myself and also have shared with my community for free over on Patreon. Basically, it's thinking about the different experiences you had, things related to the season, things related to your favorites, and then breaking those down into categories. Once I have my list, I then start thinking about how I want to visually represent the items on that list. So one way I do this is through photos. For me, photos is a super important part of my monthly journaling. I definitely have scrapbooking roots, and I just think a photo truly is worth 1,000 words. So I would highly encourage you to use photos in your monthly journaling. You can get some pretty decent at-home printers for printing photos at a reasonable cost, like the Canon Selphy. One of the nice things about monthly journaling is that because you're only doing it once a month, it's pretty reasonable for you to be able to just gather the photos you want to print and take your file or your phone, however it is you're going to print them, to a local store and get them printed elsewhere. Now, most of the photos I use in my journaling are of friends and family and events and experiences, but I do also sometimes download images from the internet to represent things that I want to document. For example, I will download a book cover or a movie poster or maybe a photo of a celebrity because, there's a hot topic in the news, whatever those things are that stand out from the month and I can represent through a photo. And I dump them all into an app called PicCollage so that I can arrange them into a collage that is typically a 4x6 or 5x7 print, and then cutting them out to use in your journal. It's a great way to actually make sure they're all going to fit. The next thing I do is gather any other materials that I know are going to work well to visually represent what it is I want to document that month. So in addition to my photos, that often looks like stickers, and more often than not, it is stickers that I designed for my patrons over on Patreon. Every single month, I design a new printable collection of stickers. And last year, we actually designed stickers for the Monthly Journaling Club for this exact practice of monthly journaling, in which every single collection was 3 full pages of stickers meant to document that month. So there's a January collection, there's a February collection, and on and on. And they are all now available on Patreon when you become a member, or you can purchase them individually in my digital shop. So last year, that is primarily what I used to decorate my pages. And at the end, I'll talk about the fun stickers we are creating for this year. We'll talk about that more in just a moment. We first need to finish talking about the process. And the next step is to designate a time that you are going to sit down with your journal. And I would invite you and encourage you to consider doing this in community by joining the Monthly Journaling Club. It is our free community in which together we are documenting our lives 1 month at a time. We have been meeting on the first Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. Occasionally it might change, but that's typically when we get together. And then we have a super fun hangout session where we all are there with our journals. And I would invite you to join us, whether you can participate live or just want to watch the recording on your own time. Now, when it comes to the actual documenting process, I have so many videos here on my channel that are journal with me's that will give you a better sense of my process and how I go about it. A few tips that I can just offer now is if you have some fear of the blank page, my best advice is to start with the title of the month and to put that right in the center of the page because it helps to break up all of that white space and gives you something then to guide you and to work around. That being said, I will say this year I actually plan to use these corner monthly stickers that I created and are available now on Patreon, just to give myself a little bit more freedom in how I design the pages and to switch things up a little bit. But I'm really excited to use these. Once I have the title down, then I gather all of my other materials and start rearranging them on the page to create my layout. So the photos, the stickers, anything else that I know I want to use. When I'm rearranging, I like to start with my biggest items. So the biggest photo, the biggest sticker, put them on the page first and then fill in the gaps with the smaller items. Once all of those main items are adhered to the page, I then fill in all of the gaps with my titles and captions. And then if you have watched any of my videos, you know I tend to fill in all the little spaces that are left over with some sparkles and little doodles here and there, because personally, when I have a page that is just bursting to the seams with all of these memories and experiences and everything I have to be grateful for, it just visually speaks to a full life, and I love that look. But if you prefer more of a minimalist style, you certainly can add in some negative space and make it what is going to suit your creative heart. I hope that breakdown gives you a sense of how to get started, but perhaps the best way to get started is literally just to start. Get the journal, get the few supplies that you need, but start where you are. You don't need everything all at once. Work with what you have, and then join the monthly journaling club for that accountability and that inspiration from others. As I said, you can join for completely free, and this is our second year of doing the club in this way, and I'm so excited for it for many reasons. And we're gonna finish on that note and talk about how together the monthly journaling club is focused on making this a year to remember. The best way to join is by heading over to my Patreon page at patreon.com/myabidingjournal, where there is a join for free option, and that is going to give you access to my Patreon page, where you will be able to be part of the community and get notified whenever my new videos come out, including the monthly journaling live streams. You'll always get notified when we're about to go live. And then the other great thing about joining the community there is you'll get access to a chat room where all of you can also be sharing your finished entries and inspiring each other. So you don't only get to see how I am monthly journaling, but get to see how the entire community, or at least those who choose to post, are journaling too. And then of course, who doesn't love some freebies? I do have an entire collection of free printables available as soon as you join. And the newest one I'm so excited about is this one I have here on my desk. And it is our 2025 freebie. And as you can see, the theme for this year is a year to remember. So this has a nice year for you to put into your journal, kind of as a cover page if you wish. And then there are monthly stickers for you to use as your title if you would like on the page. And then you'll also notice that there are check boxes and check marks, because part of this A Year to Remember theme is the idea of creating lists for ourselves at the beginning of each month. One of the things I really wanted to focus on this year is not only helping you to document your year, but also to enjoy the year and to live more intentionally. And so one way that we are doing that as a community is by creating these bucket lists, if you will. So every single month, my patrons are suggesting things that they want to do, and we are compiling them into a fun, illustrated bucket list for the month. Here is our January month to remember list, and on here we have take a winter stroll, we have declutter for a fresh start, create a list of the books you're most excited to read, create a vision board, go somewhere special for the weekend. So all different types of activities. You can try to do all of them, or just pick a few to make this a month to remember. And we will be doing this every single month for this year to keep giving us inspiration to live with meaning and intention. I hope that it does encourage you to do so, and that you will join us in this challenge. And I will say, even though the full sticker sheet for the monthly bucket list are on my paid tiers, I will be sharing a freebie sticker for each month with one item from the bucket list as our monthly challenge. So for January, our monthly challenge is to set up our planners and journals for the new year. And everybody on Patreon, free and up, gets access to this sticker to use in your journals. I am personally so excited to use these stickers in my monthly review spreads. I hope that you are excited to do the same and will consider joining us. And now is the perfect time to join because I am offering 25% off your first month when you join any of my paid tiers over on Patreon in January. So if you are interested in taking advantage of that offer and joining us for this challenge of documenting your lives and also making it a year to remember, then head over to my Patreon and pick the tier that makes the most sense for you and use the discount code NEWYEAR25 at checkout. I can't thank you enough for taking that step. It means so much to me. My patrons really are the reason that I am able to keep creating free content for you here on YouTube. I'm so grateful for all of you, and I really hope that you feel you are getting a ton of value in return. And all I can say is that I hope I have convinced you that you will not regret starting a monthly journal. I truly believe that with all my heart, and I'm so excited to get started with you this new year. So go ahead and mark your calendars for the following dates. On January 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern, we are going to get together for our monthly journaling club launch party. This is going to be an opportunity to talk through in a little bit more detail what the monthly journaling club is going to be this year. And at the same time, I am going to personally be setting up my monthly journal for this next year. So if you want to see my process for doing that and maybe even set up your own with me, then I would encourage you to join us on January 30th. And then on Thursday, February 6th at 7 p.m. Eastern, we are going to gather again to document our first month of the years. I really hope that I will see you in those future live streams and other places here on the channel. So go ahead and hit subscribe if you haven't already. And if you are looking for a little bit more guidance on how to get started and specifically what to get started, because I know that the amount of journaling supply options that are out there can be a little bit overwhelming, I would encourage you to check out this video next. It is my guide to creating a beginner's starter kit for creative journaling. So I will see you over there, or I'll see you over on Patreon for all of the bonus content. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.